Hey YouTube, it's Erin and I am the Handbag Housewife and I'm back again with another video. Today's video, I'm going to tackle a tough topic, and that is how I afford my authentic luxury bags and my thoughts on not authentic luxury bags, and I guess even not authentic contemporary bags for that matter. So I just showed you my entire collection in the full closet tour that I posted yesterday or the day before. And so I'm going to put a link down in the description box for that in case you missed it, because it sort of lends to making this video, given that my collection is pretty extensive. And so I wanted to talk to you about how I guess, afford to have the collection that I have. It's not one particular thing that makes it possible. There are several contributing factors into how I am able to pay for what I have. And I also wanted to show you my bag of the day, which I've had for several days, and swap into a new one. I've had people asking me about how often I use each bag, since I do have around 75 bags in my collection. And honestly, I can't answer how many times in a year I use each bag because I don't keep a spreadsheet on it. That seems like a lot of work, and I want my handbags to be a fun thing and not work to try to figure out which ones I use the most. I do go in and evaluate what I have by just sort of walking in my closet and looking around, and sometimes I do have sales. Sometimes I have rampant sales where I do a major clear out. But right now I'm super happy with what I have, and I don't have anything that I want to sell, believe it or not. So if I do change my collection over the course of the next year, I think that the changes are going to be pretty minor. I do have 3 bags on the way, but all 3 of them cost substantially less than a luxury bag might cost. And so they're more in lines with contemporary pricing, and they kind of, well, 2 of the 3 straddle the fence of luxury, I would say. So stay tuned for those unboxings coming up in the next week or 2, but let's get to switching into my new bag of the day. So I haven't been able to get out of the Speedy 20 since I moved into it. I want to say it's been at least 4 or 5 days. I haven't really been going a lot of places over this holiday. I've been kind of a homebody. I only leave when I have to get like food for my family, but the rest of the time I'm just sort of hanging out at home, sleeping in, watching Christmas movies and holiday movies. I just finished a really good one. I can't even remember the name. It has something to do with traveling to Vietnam, and it was so fun to watch and see all the beautiful scenery. But that's sort of what I've been up to, and just cleaning up after Christmas. This is my new bag of the day, which is the small Lulu puffer in the denim with the black handles. I feel like even with what I'm wearing right now, it's going to match well, pretty much matching as well as the Damier Ebene does, but I'm going to change her in a bit. And so I will coordinate my outfit for later to this bag. That's kind of what I do. I pick the bag and then coordinate the outfit to it oftentimes. Sometimes it's reverse, but it just depends on my mood. So let's see what I have inside of this little cutie. I have a pouch that I keep medicine in, like for headaches and for my arms, because I have nerve issues in my arms. I've actually had 2 arm surgeries for my ulnar nerves, and so I keep medicine in there for that too. And so I have that inside my Zumani insert pocket. I always link Zumani down below. I have a discount code for, I think it's 20% off. I've got my new Fendi Diamonds card holder in a green shade, I think malachite and verde, and verde means green, so basically green and malachite. And so I'm going to stick that down just in the center of the bag. This bag has oodles of space. There are a lot of private sales going on right now, and I'm pretty sure you can get the Toy Lulu in this color combo for like $800 or less from a Saks Fifth Avenue sales associate, should you have one or are able to find one. I don't have one, but I saw a post from Instagram, and so you might check out Saks and see what kind of deals you can find on some of the Saint Laurent through the stores as opposed to just looking online. So I have 2 key pouches from Louis Vuitton, one in monogram and one in monogram Eclipse, and I think, reverse eclipse. So I'm just going to throw those down in the center too. I have this pouch. This is like my favorite little pouch to hold things like nail files and concealer. And I think I need to give it a good wash. So I apologize for it not looking the best, but it keeps my stuff inside my purse looking the best to have it in there. So see, I've got all that in there. It's sort of a jumbled mess. I have a glasses cleaning cloth. I use this also to clean my camera lens. And so that's a really nice thing to have with me. I always like to have that. So I've got the medicine pouch in that pocket, and I've got the glasses cleaning cloth in that pocket. Then I have a few odds and ends. I have a Tide to Go stick, which I just keep loose. I have a Neosporin, and this is like not the jelly, it's the cream, and it feels a lot like lotion. And when I get little cuts on my hands in the winter, I put this on when I'm out and about, and it helps my hands heal up really quick if I do get a little paper cut. And then I have a comb. I've got my key fob. If I had my AirPods in here, I would throw those in the bag as well. So normally I would have some cash, but I just have a few things here like a check I need to deposit right now. So I'm gonna put these items in the pocket of the actual bag right there. So you can see it's all sitting in there. I'm really only using 2 of the 3 pockets in the insert, but the insert does a great job of keeping the bag in shape and then also allowing it to still be smooshy if I want it to be. Of course, I've shown you M Boutique Australia does make base shapers for this bag. And so if you want it to be a little less smooshy, you can get one of those and use it with a Zoomani insert or without. But now my bag, my denim Saint Laurent bag is ready to go. And I don't know where we're going, but maybe we'll go somewhere. I know for sure we're going to watch the University of Kansas play today, but that may be just at home. I made chili yesterday, so I don't have to go get any food. And so I guess that's that. Let's get into the topic of the day. When I was in my 20s, I really wanted to get like a Coach bag, but they were really out of reach for me financially. And so I had a friend and we went to a lady's home and she was selling handbags out of her garage. And she told us that they were authentic. She had a variety of brands, but the ones I remember are Tiffany, David Yurman, Coach, and Louis Vuitton. I know she had those 4 brands because I purchased something from all of those categories from her except for Louis Vuitton. When I looked at her items in the store, I didn't have a lot of experience with what a Coach bag should look like if it was authentic, but I had her telling me that these were authentic and the Coach bags that she had felt really good and seemed like they were excellent quality. So I did buy a couple of bags from her that were Coach. She also had Louis Vuitton, and those, I just knew that they were fake because the handles were supposed to be Vachetta, which I didn't even know what that was at that time. And they were plastic. And I knew Louis Vuitton wouldn't be selling bags with plastic handles. I didn't know much about Louis Vuitton at that time, but I was pretty sure at least I knew that. And the glazing on those handles on the fake Vachetta was so red. So it really stood out to me that I didn't think that they were real. And I guess that put a niggling thought in the back of my head that maybe her other items weren't real, but they seemed so real. As we all know, the not real items out there now can be so real you can't even tell the difference. That said, I do not want to buy items that are not real at this point in my life. Even at that point in my life, back in, oh gosh, I don't even know what year. I'm 47, so like 25 years ago, I didn't want to buy counterfeit items then either. And I steered clear of what I knew was counterfeit. And I trusted this woman that she had authentic items other than that. In hindsight, I should have just been like, okay, she has one inauthentic item, then the other ones probably are not authentic as well. But I really wanted to be able to get Coach bags, and I really wanted to be able to get one of the Return to Tiffany bracelets, and I really wanted to be able to get a David Yurman ring. And so I did. And so now I still have that David Yurman ring that is not the same as the David Yurman rings that I have that I know are genuine. The Return to Tiffany bracelet, I know it's not the same as the genuine Return to Tiffany bracelet that I currently have. But I don't want to sell those items. They are made out of real silver. And so, you know, what do? I'm keeping them. It's sort of a reminder of my youth, I guess you could say. The Coach bags that I did get from this woman, I didn't sell them, but I gave them away. And I don't anticipate that the individual I gave them away to do anything but donate them. So I hope that they don't get passed off as real at some point in the future. But it's been quite some time since all of that went down. Let's get on to more of the present day. I really started collecting handbags back about 7 years ago when my husband gave me my first luxury bag, the Berry MM. I have a story about how I got that bag, and I'll link that video down below as well. That was sort of how my collecting started. I don't know if it was a midlife crisis or what, but all of the items that I have in my collection now, as far as handbags go, and with the exception of those 2 items I just mentioned, also as far as jewelry goes, are authentic luxury items or authentic contemporary items. And as you saw in the video I just posted, I have quite a collection. So one might ask, how in the heck can I have that kind of collection? How can I do as many unboxings as I do to acquire such a collection? Well, I do have a playlist which has all of my closet tours that I've done over the past couple years. And with those videos, you can see how my collection has evolved over time. So I'm going to link that video down below as well. There's lots of viewing eye candy that you can watch. And if you want to see how my collection has changed from the start of my YouTube channel to now, you can watch it on my playlist of closet tours. I have vastly changed what I have. I've shifted from mostly contemporary bags such as Coach and Tory Burch to mostly luxury bags. And so I've sold a tremendous amount of my collection in order to fund bags in the luxury category. And I was upwards of having more than 125 bags, and now I'm down to more like 75. And so I sold more than I bought, but what I bought was more expensive. So I did outlay more money to get the collection that I have today than I got back by selling bags. So how did I make up the difference? Well, first of all, I am married to a wonderful man, and we decided quite some time ago that a percentage of his income we were going to put into, I guess you could call them fund money accounts for him and for me. And so that we wouldn't have to worry about what we spent that money on. That wouldn't have to be part of our overall budget. That was like for me. And so my account I use for things like Botox when I get it. I use it for my skincare items. I use it for my nail care products. I use it for my shampoo, and I use it for my luxury goods. So I'm using it for everything about Aaron. And so that is one source. Then I have this YouTube channel, and through my YouTube channel, I am generating an income of around $500 a month. And so that is another source of income for me to spend on luxury goods. Now, in addition to my YouTube channel, I have links that I put down in my description box. And when you use those links, I get a small percentage of the sale. And I occasionally do sponsored videos like I did with Paul with Nextfashion recently, where I get compensated for that. So I get compensated for links, and I get compensated for special videos I do for companies. Sometimes, a lot of times, I'll do a video and I don't get anything at all just because I love the brand. Like, for example, I've mentioned Risen Denim and Sultry Clothing a few times recently, and I don't get anything for talking about that particular brand. With M Boutique Australia, I did so many videos where I talked about them before I ever had an affiliate linking system with them. And I bought so many of their base shapers before they ever sent me one for free. And so in addition to my YouTube income, I do get additional income from my product links down in the description box, as well as through videos I do that may be sponsored. I've had a couple different sponsored videos where I have been paid cash money to do the video and to give my opinion on an item that was sent to me or items that were sent to me. And an example of that would be the Nextfashion chains that I recently showed, and I'll link that video down below too. But let me just tell you that I absolutely love Nextfashion chains, and so I would have done that video regardless of whether I was paid or not. It is a nice perk though to get compensated for my time in creating videos for these companies that hopefully will benefit them in the long run as well. So if you add all of the income from the links and that sort of thing together, it's at least another $500 a month. And that puts my total YouTube income at around $12,000 per year. But that's a really rough estimate, and it can go up and down a lot in each of the two categories, both from YouTube and the products, depending on what I'm recommending and what you're buying and all of that. So we have, I guess, my fund money account so far, and we've got the YouTube and the product link income as ways that I'm funding my luxury bags and selling bags that I'm not using. Primarily, I was selling contemporary handbags, but I've also sold several luxury handbags to fund other luxury handbags. And I've also sold some small other goods as well, and chains and straps. So a myriad of things associated with my collection have been sold to evolve what I have to what it is today. The next way I'm able to afford the collection I have today is I buy a lot of Preloved. But when I do buy Preloved, I scour the internet and I find authentic items that are in like new condition, because I really don't like items that have any sort of damage, like cornerware, weird smells, stains, scratches. I really don't like any of that, so I try to avoid it at all costs. And if I get an item that is not up to my standards, but it was described as being up to my standards, then I do return it. And I've had bouts of having to return several things in a row, and it's not fun. But all in all, I find it worth it overall to be able to curate the collection, I guess you could say, of my dreams, because I have a collection of my dreams right now here around me in my closet. So buying Preloved often will let me save half off of the retail price. If not half, then sometimes more, sometimes less, but around half of what I would normally pay for the retail price if you were going to just gauge it or estimate it in terms of the savings that I'm able to accrue. That's not to say I do not buy anything retail. I do find that buying Louis Vuitton canvas items retail, like the Speedy 20, I bought both of my Speedy 20s retail because on the resale market, they are often going for the same exact price as they would be from Louis Vuitton. So why would I pay that when I could get it from Louis Vuitton? So there are items that I definitely buy straight from the boutique. I do buy a lot of my Saint Laurent items through department stores or authorized retailers, as opposed to the Preloved market, because thus far, I mean, they went through a period where things were not going on sale, but right now you can buy Saint Laurent for much lower prices than retail. And I think the reason why is because they are pulling their inventory from the department stores. So whatever the department stores have left, they are basically clearancing out. So now is the time to buy Saint Laurent. If you've had something on your mind, you need to just get in touch with a person at some of these department stores and check around to see if you can find your dream bag. I have gotten some Saint Laurent bags from the Preloved market, and I've gotten amazing deals on them. But the major disadvantage to buying Saint Laurent on the Preloved market is that the aftercare service just really isn't there like it is with other brands such as Dior and Louis Vuitton. If you didn't buy your bag from an authorized retailer, at least in my experience, Saint Laurent would not repair it. You can always go, though, to leather surgeons or another legitimate leather repair place to get your bags worked on. If the savings are good enough on the Preloved market, it really just doesn't matter to me if my bag is repaired somewhere besides Saint Laurent. Whew, boy, that's a lot of information that I have dispensed so far. So other ways I'm able to afford luxury besides shopping the sales and buying Preloved items is that I use Cashback programs such as Rakuten to get money back on purchases I make online. You can actually accrue a pretty substantial amount of cash back by using links through Rakuten or through TopCashBack. I have both of those linked down below in my description box. And if you use my links to sign up, you can oftentimes get a bonus, and then I would oftentimes get one too, which is pretty cool. Because then when you recommend those platforms to other people, it'll happen like that just the same. You would get a bonus and they would probably get a bonus as well. So that is another avenue where I can save money and make these luxury purchases more abundant because I'm saving that money and I can apply that money to other things. Another thing I do is when the pandemic hit, I started doing my own nails. I let my hair completely grow out. It used to be bleached blonde regularly, and I had to pay for that. I had to pay to get my nails done. And giving up those two things saves me some cash. Now, is that enough to buy a luxury bag every month? No, it's not. But it's pretty expensive to get your nails done every couple weeks. And it's also pretty expensive to get your hair highlighted every 6 weeks. So those are a couple things that I don't do that I save money on now, and actually like my hair better now that it's not dyed because it just feels a lot healthier. Another thing is that my husband and I do not drink, and we don't go out to drink, and that saves so much money. I mean, if you're going out regularly on the weekend, you could easily spend $300 on alcohol and food, if not more. And if you drink every evening, or if you drink a couple evenings a week, you can easily spend $100 in one sitting if you like the finer wines or the finer whiskeys or the finer whatever you want. And so that's another way that my husband and I save money. We just don't consume alcohol. Now, I do have a Diet Dr. Pepper habit, but that is cheaper than a fine wine. Case in point, I've got it right here. I have a few other thoughts that are a little bit miscellaneous here at the end. The first is, when buying Preloved, to ensure I have authentic luxury items I buy from resellers, I do get authenticated. And for example, the twist that I just purchased that I found on eBay, I did get it authenticated because it's a high dollar item and because I just want to have the peace of mind of knowing that it's been double checked. So I have actually 2 authentication certificates for that particular bag. I also authenticate anything that doesn't go through eBay authentication, fashion file authentication, and sometimes those items I re-authenticate anyway. But if I'm buying from a consignment store or from a reseller, I am getting those items authenticated for my peace of mind. And I have always done that as long as I can remember for items over like $1,000. But recently that threshold I've lowered, and anything over $200 I'm getting authenticated. And authentication is $20. And so I'm trying to do like kind of an analysis. Like if I get an item that's $180, so I want to spend $20 authenticating it. Well, if I can compare it to items in my closet and make my own judgment, the answer is probably no. But it used to be that I really wouldn't pay to authenticate anything under $1,000, and I've definitely lowered that threshold a lot. And the reason that kind of spurred me to do that was that I got a couple items that were not authentic. And this has happened, I think, in the last year. One of them was a Fendi Peekaboo that I found on Poshmark, and Poshmark authenticated it. And then I re-authenticated it, and it came back as being not authentic. And so I was able to return that bag through Poshmark. They allowed me to do that. And then it ended up that the seller, who didn't know that her item was not authentic, was able to get her money back from the real, who she had purchased from a long time ago. And they still honored the fact that they had sold her an inauthentic item and compensated her for that. The other experience I've had lately was that I bought a Louis Vuitton strap, which turned out to be not Louis Vuitton, from an eBay seller, and it did not go through their authentication program. It came from Japan, and I was sure it was real. I mean, it seems so real. I had it here in my collection. I used it a little bit. I mean, I compared it to items I have, and I was sure it was real. And I sent it in to Louis Vuitton to repair a little rivet, and whenever they got it, they called me and they said they couldn't work on it because it wasn't one of their items. So that was sort of a long drawn out process, but I did get my money back from the seller. They did not know that it was not real either, and they sold a fair amount. So, it was a good counterfeit item. And so that's why I have now authenticated everything in my closet that I can think of that is valued at $200 or more. I spent a few $100s authenticating a whole bunch of items right after that happened. So I am virtually positive that everything I have around me is authentic, and I plan to have it stay that way. With all that said, if you have items in your collection that are not authentic because you just want that item so bad and that's the way you can afford it, I have been there. I mean, I did my whole garage purchasing in my early 20s. My thoughts on purchasing not authentic items now is very different than what it used to be. It used to be that if I had a question about it, if I wasn't sure, then I would let it slide. And now there's no questioning whether it's real or not. If it's not real, I find out and I send it back. And it's not just because I can afford the real deal. It's also because I would rather take a step down from that highest level of luxury and get something that is amazing quality, that's not an exact copy from another brand if I want an item. So let's take the Birkin, for example. I don't really like the Birkin, but if I did and I wanted a Birkin, then I would probably say I'm not going to spend $25,000 to get a Birkin, because if you do the Hermes route and buy one for one and do all that, that's probably what it's going to end up costing you, unless you're just lucky and you go to Paris and you get one. And so if I wanted a Birkin, would I spend that kind of money? No, that's out of my reach. I mean, I guess if I sold like 10 bags, then I could do that maybe. If I had people lined up to buy them and I didn't lose too much money on the bags I was selling. Whew. But then I would have a bag that was worth so much, I would be afraid to carry it. And I don't want to do that either. And so I would take a step down and maybe do something like a Saint Laurent sac de jour. And that bag, it's actually more functional for me anyway, because it has a strap that you can use to wear it different ways, and the Birkin doesn't. Another example would be the Tory Burch Lee Radswell bags. Those bags have a very Kelly Birkin-esque kind of feel to them, and that's a bag that I could afford to buy and not worry so much about if I did something to it in the process of carrying it. So I would rather step down from that level if I can't afford it than to buy an exact replica of it. A lot of folks out there will buy dupes of products, let's say on Etsy, and they'll buy something that looks very much like the Birkin or very much like the Kelly. And I think that's totally fine. If I'm going to do that, it would be so that I could get a feel for the bag, get a feel for if I liked it. And I wouldn't want that bag, which looks a lot like the bag that I might be aspiring to get, to have a stamp on it saying that it's something it's not. I don't have any problem with bags that look like other bags. I just don't want the one for one where you've got the exact monogram or the exact stamp saying something is something that it's not. That's kind of my thoughts on authentic versus not authentic bags. One of the avenues I've heard of as a way to afford luxury bags is to buy them and to return them. And I just don't do that. I mean, I do return items because I can't go to a store and try the item on oftentimes. I don't live close to a big city. I don't have access to luxury stores unless I'm on vacation. And I try to take you guys with me on my vacation vlogs and when I go shopping on vacation. And a lot of times I'm able to get some great information when I'm in the stores trying on the bags to figure out what I like, so that when I do order online later, if that's what I choose to do, that I don't have to return. Because returning is stressful, especially with luxury items, because anything can happen when that item is in transit. And I don't want to deal with the repercussions of having something lost and fighting for a refund. So I do as much research as I can before buying pretty much any bag, even a Coach bag or Tory Burch bag or a Longchamp bag. I really like to know what I'm getting before I get it so that I can avoid returns. I have had a lot of returns, but they haven't been because I bought something that I didn't really want and then just returned it. Most all of the items I buy, I'm pretty sure I'm going to keep them or I think there's a chance I'm going to keep them and I really want to see them in person, and that's the only way that I can see them in person is by ordering them. An example would be the Louis Vuitton high-rise bum bag. I ordered that. I wasn't sure if I was going to like it, but if I didn't order it to see, I would have no idea. And I ended up getting it. It was sort of meh for me. I wasn't like in love with it. And mine had a few defects, so I returned it. I think if you watch my collection videos over time, you'll see lots of changes. And that's because I have figured out what I like by using what I have. And I've decided to get rid of things that don't work for me and move on to getting more things that I do like, which is why I buy multiples of styles that I love, such as the Saint Laurent Small Lulu, the Saint Laurent Small Lulu Puffer, the Collège Medium Bag by Saint Laurent. I have multiples of all of those. I have multiples of the Coach Soft Pebble Camera Bag. I have multiples of the Longchamp Extra Small Bag. I have multiples of 3 of a lot more, like the Prada re-edition. And so what I'm saying is that originally, when I started buying luxury bags, I didn't want to buy multiples because I wanted to have like one of the Pochette Métis and one of the Speedy and one of this and one of that. And I figured out that if I really love something, having multiples of it versus getting another style just so I have more variety in my collection, it's better for me to buy multiples. But that said, I have been a crazy collector over the years and bought so many colors of one bag, and there is a limit for me, and I have set that limit at 4. And so I have curated bags in my collection, such as my Longchamp Extra Small collection, which was over 20 down to 4. Because realistically, when I have 20 of those, am I going to wear them? The answer is no. 20 is definitely too many of one particular style for me. And I have found when I have curated my collections down to like 4 items, that I use those 4 items way more than I ever used them when I had 20 of the same style. When it comes down to it, I think most of us out there are collectors of something. If you think about it, is there anything you collect? Do you collect different kinds of tea? Do you collect different kinds of wine? Do you collect miniatures? I used to collect miniatures. I had these little miniature box. I used to collect precious moments. I've collected jewelry. I've collected handbags. I've collected all sorts of things. Right now, I have been really into jeans. Like, I think it's fun for us to figure out things that will bring us joy. And sometimes when I'm collecting, I definitely get out of control. And I know that you all have seen that with the Longchamp unboxings, one after another after another. And as I have done this YouTube journey, I have really learned a lot about myself, about collecting, about excessiveness. And I know when you have 75 handbags in your collection, that might be excessive for a lot of people. But for me, I really just don't feel like it is, because my collection brings me joy when I see it. And I do use what I have. Do I use all of it? Probably not. Do I enjoy all of it? Right now I do. And if I reach a point where I don't, then I can sell a lot of what I have and get a lot of what I paid back. Because when I bought these items, I've gotten them for really good deals 99% of the time. So as far as looking at my entire collection and pondering how I was able to acquire it, I hope I've given you some insights into that. I hope also I've given you some insights into my feelings about authentic versus not authentic items. At this point in my life, like I've said, I have all authentic items except for those 2 jewelry pieces that I was talking about. Do I wear them? No, I just don't really know what to do with them at this point. If you have any questions, I would be happy to answer. Maybe not all of them, but definitely a lot of different types of questions. If you want to put a question down in the description box, I will do my best to reply to you. I feel like some things should be kept private in terms of your own personal finances, so I'm not going to divulge absolutely everything about my life and all of my streams of income, but I would definitely be open to having a conversation about it down in the description box. If you've made it this far, if you would do me a favor and put a star down in the comments so I know that somebody's made it through this whole video, I would really appreciate it. And if you like this video, please give me a big thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, what are you waiting for? Do it and ring the notification bell so that you are notified of future exciting content such as this. Also, go find me on Instagram. The name there is the same. It's the @ then the Handbag Housewife, all lowercase. You can DM me there, or you can email me at thehandbaghousewife@gmail.com. If I don't hear from you, I will see you again real soon. Take care and have a fabulous day. Bye.